22b Chav Beis Amid Beis. We'll do the Mishnah again because I want to correct the mistake I made. I made a mistake yesterday. Rabbi Brown overheard and Baruch Hashem corrected me.
Oh my goodness.
So let's say a guy's liable 2 lashes, right? 2 sets of lashes. So the Mishnah says you estimate how much he's able to handle. Now, what it means is not like I said 39 and somehow you're off the hook for both. What it means is 39 plus a few more. What's a few more? 3. We go in sets of 3s. So you estimate, can he take 42 lashes? So if he could take 42 lashes, so you give him. If he cannot take 42, let's say he can only take 41 or 40 or less, then you give him a certain amount, then he heals, and then you give him again. So you get 2 sets. That's what it means. You estimate, you evaluate omad echad loka, omad echad loko pata. If you do one estimation, which is 39 plus a few, then you are loke upater. But if not, if he can't handle at least 42, so then loka umisrape v'chozer v'loka. You give him, then he gets healed, then you give him again. Problem is, v'hatanya ein omed echad l'shnei lavin. You don't evaluate one evaluation for 2 lavin. Sounds like no such thing as 42. You give one, then you give again. That flies in the face of our Mishnah. Marav sheish lo kash, not difficulty. Ha'adamduhu la'arbayim the ha'adamduhu la'arbayim v'chada. Ha'adamduhu la'arbayim v'tarti. If you evaluate and he can only do 41, then you're that doesn't do anything. The fact that you can do 41, either 39 or 42. So in that case, you're not going to give him 41, and he'll be off the hook for both sets of lashes. You have to do it twice. But if you evaluate him for 42, so then he'll get those 3, and he will be good to go. Okay. The next things that was keeping Jules awake all night was, how does the procedure work? So Kate said, Malkinasum. Steve, this is the best part. Get ready. So, Kate said, Malkinasum. Kofes Shteyadov. Yeah. No, the next Mishnah.
The next Mishnah.
The next Mishnah, yeah. Yeah, we got to finish by Shabbos. So Kate said, so Malkinasum, Kofes Shteyadov al Amud. You put 2 of his hands, you tie it to an amud, to a pillar. V'chazan hakneses. Chazan doesn't mean here the one who davens from the amud. It means the gabbai, the one who serves in the shul. So what does he do? He oches bebigdav. He grabs his clothing off. So now im nikru, if they rip, they rip. The im niframu. If they tear by the seams, they tear by the seams. Ad shehu megala eslibo, until his chest is revealed. The ha'evan nisuna ma'achorov, behind the guy is a little stone used. A little stone used as a platform. Thank you. A little stone is a platform. The ha'evan nisuna ma'achorov, and now what happens? The chazan of the Knesset, not the Israeli government, the chazan of the shul. So he stands on the stone. Not so different than the government. And he stands with a lash in his hand, and he says, "Vote for me." No, and he says, and it's interesting. The lash, the whip, has to be made out of an egel kfula, echad l'shnayim v'shnayim la'arba. It has to be made out of material of a calf, and it has to be doubled and then doubled again. So you're taking the strands and you're doubling, so then you have 2. If you double it again, then you have 4 strands. So that's what you need. The shtei ritzur shel chamer olos yerdos ba. I don't know exactly how the picture goes, but it sounds like in the strap itself there are like holes, and you put part of horse material. Also, it's a strand made out of horse material through these strands. So you have a mix of a calf and a horse. It's not kilaim, don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, I know you're gonna say it. So olos v'yordos ba. So olos v'yordos, so they go yeah, these strands are sort of hanging off in the middle, and up and down. It sounds like on the strands of the calf, the strands of the horse are hanging there throughout the length of the strands. They're intertwined in some way with the strands of the calf. Okay. Yada tefach, the part you hold, the handle has to be a tefach. V'rachva tefach, the width has to be a tefach. V'rosha magas albe kriso. It has to be long enough that, simply understood, it could wrap around to the front of his stomach. So, Maka oso shlish milafanav, you give him 1/3 of the makos in front on the chest. The shtei yados mileachora, but then 2 of them, the other 2/3 you give in the back. Now, I don't know if it goes 1 and then 2, 3, or it goes like 1, 2, 3, and then you probably I don't know. The ena makoso lo omed v'lo yoshev. He can't be standing and he can't be sitting. Elamuta, leaned over. Shinamar, as it states, the hipilu hashofet. The shofet leans him over. The hamake biyado achas, the kol kocho. He uses with one hand all of his strength to give the lashes. The hakore kore, and there's someone else who reads the verses. Imlo sishmor lasos, all these verses. If you don't keep the whole Torah, there at the end of the Varim, what's going to happen to you? If you don't keep the Torah, then you're going to get lashes, and plagues are going to come upon you. So if he doesn't, if he finishes the verses, he goes back to the beginning. He goes back to the beginning of the verses and starts again. Right. Some take this verse out because we're going to say in a second that he does the same thing. He goes back to the beginning of the verses. So you're not going back to the beginning of the verses twice. So one of them might be superfluous. Then you say Ushmartim as divrei habris hazos. You keep going in the verses. That's what it sounds like. That part might be taken out because the verses haven't ended yet. The chosem, and you end off yeah, and you go back. You go back to the beginning of the verse. Now, the guy who administers the lashes, if he unfortunately kills the guy, he's exempt. Meaning they did estimation, they did evaluation, he did what he had to do. No, he's putter. What is he supposed to do? But one extra lash that you were not supposed to give, umes, and he dies, raise a gola. You go off to exile. Goodbye. Yeah, raise a gola yado. Niska. No. This to me is like, I would never have thought of this yet. Niskalkil. The guy has an accident. Either niskalkil bain beret, either with lost control. That's a good way. He lost control of his body. He had an accident. So bain beret, bain b'mayim, whether it's with excrement. That's a nice word. Yeah, I was going to say number 2. Fine. Either excrement or with urine. So then he's exempt because that's already embarrassing enough for him. And the Torah says, as long as you're embarrassed, once you're embarrassed, you become our brother. You have to be, once you're embarrassed. So this is enough of an embarrassment that he lost those bodily functions. So that's one way to get off the hook. So Rabbi Yehuda Omer, no, Ha'ish Berei, a man has to only be his excrement. That sounds like it's much more embarrassing than just urine. The Ha'isha, but for a woman, it's embarrassing no matter what. Even with urine. Yeah. So that's interesting. Now,
Try not to think about that, right?
yeah. I'll be happy to remind you after tomorrow. So my time, only because you asked. So my time of Mishum Nikla. So some also interesting. Some have this and some take it out, but it sounds like we do have it. So it means like in the beginning, you're leaning him over, you're tearing off his clothing, certain embarrassing things you do. Why? It says Nikla, you have to embarrass him. Yeah. Amar of Sheishas Mishum Abelazar ben Azar. I mean, I don't know this. I'm missing something here. But how do you know it has to be of a calf? The Chsivit says, Arbaim Yakenu, 40 lashes, V'samichle, Lo Sachsum Shor Bedisho, that you can't muzzle the ox. What do you call a baby ox a calf?
Yeah.
What do you call a baby calf?
Yeah.
Well, they're both called a calf.
Yeah.
That's where I went wrong. Okay. Thank you. So you can understand. Good. So that's also what do you say?
Some of the joys of
I didn't know until I was 3 years old in Mishna. What do you want from me? So it's much. Yeah, I really didn't grow up at home having good English, more Russian, mainly Russian. So and if you don't do anything in school, then you're 0 for 2. So what do you do then? And then you go learn Hebrew and Aramaic. So I was in college. I was in college for 3.5 years. Okay, good question. So fine. Take you. Okay, Rosh Hashanah said, Mishum Rebbe Lazar ben Azari Minayli Vamar Shekos. Now we're going to interpret more things that are called smichut, that are next to each other, one verse next to another verse. It's interesting that the Gemara in Yevamah says in the beginning, there's a machlokas. Do you darshan this idea of one verse next to another verse only in Devarim, or you do it throughout the whole Torah? Some say only in Devarim. It repeated so many things on purpose and put them next to each other for that reason. So it's interesting. These verses are all from Devarim. Well, some of them are not. The ones that are not, I believe, is a discussion if you can do that or not. But Amar Rav Sheshas. So Mishum Lotzah ben Azari Minayli Yevama Shnapel Lifnei Mukashchin. A Yevama. So a lady's husband dies, and now she falls to her brother-in-law. Except he's a man who's discussing to her. He's full of boils. So she'ein chos minosa. You don't muzzle her, meaning you let her voice her opinion. I don't want to marry this guy. How do you know that you could do that? You don't muzzle her. Lo sachsom shor b'disha. You can't muzzle your ox. The parsha of Yevamos. So they're juxtaposed next to each other. These two sections of the Torah. What? I don't want to marry him. He's ugly.
Well, first do that, but then compare the two ox.
Okay, it's not what it means. So that's true. Yeah. All right. If a human being does that, it's one thing. But when it's in the Torah, it's a separate thing. Yeah. So people who have those problems because they view everything from a human perspective. But okay, mature. Interesting. Anybody who disgraces the holidays is ki'ilu ovid avodah zara, is like as if he did idol worship. It's not here, but it is here. Rashi says what it means here is chol hamoed. It's chol hamoed, not just the yantiv. It's chol hamoed. If you disgrace the chol hamoeds, so it's like you did idol worship. You can't make idols, molten images. You should keep the holiday. Interesting how Rashi knows it's referring to Chol Hamoed and not the regular yantif.
Yeah.
How does Rashi know that? Rashi says because the severity of keeping the first and seventh day is already mentioned, as it's a Gemara Chagiga. So rather, this verse is teaching you the part that's not already mentioned. You should be careful about. What is that? Chol Hamoed. Okay, that's how he knows. It's interesting because there's a machlokas rishonim if violating malacha on Chol Hamoed is biblical or rabbinic. That's a discussion Rashi holds is biblical. That's interesting. So it fits very nicely with this. Whoever says lashon hara, and whoever receives lashon hara, and the kol hameid edu sheker, roi la'ashlicho l'klavim, is and whoever testifies falsely is fitting to be thrown to the dogs. So the chsiv, imagine this again nowadays. The man's best friend. Right. The chsiv la kelev tashlichon oso. So you throw it to the dogs. That's referring usually to a carcass and a vela. The samech le lo sisa shem ashav. Lo sisa shem ashav literally means that. I just learned this yesterday with a speedback and contemplating that joke. It's funny. So it's literally referring to when one litigant comes in front of a judge and the judge receives his testimony when the other litigant isn't present at all. So a judge can't do that. But the Gemara in two places also understands this to mean that you cannot accept Lashon Hara. Chavetz Chaim, there's a second halacha in the Chavetz Chaim. That's what we're learning. It says this is the source. You cannot accept Lashon Hara. That's what you can't accept. And also, the Gemara learns it out. It also karibei loisasi. You can't cause someone else to accept. So from here, you can't cause someone else to accept something false, and you also can't accept. You can't accept it yourself, and you can't cause someone to accept it. So this is one of the sources that you can't do, that you can't speak or accept Lashon Hara about somebody else. So it's from this verse, but the Gemara is adding that you get thrown to the dogs. Okay. Shtei Ritzuos. So you have to have these. The whip has to be folded over twice, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and made out of a calf and a horse. Tana Shel Chamor. It's interesting. Why? What's a horse doing here? Keep the horse in the zoo, and why is it used as the whip? Sorry. The donkey. Thank you. The sus. That's the horse. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, a donkey. A donkey. Kedadarish hahu Galila aleh the Rav Chisda. Certain Galilee taught it to Rav Chisda. They don't translate Galila as an idle word, do they? No. Yeah, okay, Galilee, right, okay, fine. Expanded from Rav Chisda, Yada Shor Kuneya B'Chamer Evos Balav. An ox, interesting, the nature of an ox is that it knows its owner, and the donkey, the trough, it knows the trough of its owner, meaning it goes back and knows which is his. Yisrael, so the verse is talking about, but the Jewish people, right? But Yisrael, lo yada ami, lo hizbone. But Hashem says, my nation, they don't know me. They don't contemplate me. So Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu says Hashem, Yavo misha makir evos balav. Let the one who knows who its owner is come and take retribution from the one who doesn't know its owner. Meaning, had the guy do the Aveira. If you would have thought about Hashem and be mizbone and contemplate him, you wouldn't have come to do something, which is okay, we'll get to almost there. So that person wasn't contemplating Hashem. So therefore, let the horse come in. Amar Abai Shmamina. So it sounds like you have to have the amount that it goes around to his stomach. Has to be large enough that it goes to his stomach. So Amar Abai Shmamina kol chad echad lefum gabe adinalei. It sounds like there are so many custom-made whips. Some Jews are tall, some Jews are short. Okay, most are short, but some are tall, some are heavy, some are thin. So the Gemara sounds like that can't be. That's too much of a every guy a custom-made whip. Amalei Rava, if that's true, you can be busy making whips your whole life. Yeah, there's so many whips. So Amalei Rava, what it means is avakta islay. And kibayi makterbe, so kibayi mikterbe, kibayi marpebe. It's custom made. It can be adjustable, an adjustable whip. When you need it, you tighten it, and when you need it, you loosen it up. So you don't have to do that. Interesting. Yeah. So malkinus. So okay. So you give him malchus. He has to be leaning over. Menani amar of Kana damar kravi pilo shobavi kol lefanav kidei rishaso b'mispar. So he has not leaning over. He has to give one in the front and two in the back. How do I know? He leans him over. He hits him. Kidei rishaso. So he hits him with a certain for his wickedness. B'mispar. So here it says if he kol lifanav, he hits him in front of him, in his front. But in his front, it's only kidei rishaso. Only for one wickedness he gets in the front out of 3. So one in the front, kidei rishaso. Risha achas milapanov, but in the back is going to be the other 2. Shtei rishayo. So it goes in sets of 3, 1 in the front and 2 in the back. Okay, next. Ein malkanaso. Amar of Chisda, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Minayin l'ritzua shehi muchpeles. How do you know that a whip has to be doubled over? Shenamar v'hipilu. It sounds like from the verse of v'hipilu. So the word v'hipil means to lean the guy over, but the Gemara learns it out. This part's a little bit missing, but they add in over here that v'hichpilo, that the v'hipilo is very similar to the word v'hichpilo, kefel. Kefel is double. So it sounds like the whip has to be doubled over. So the Gemara, you can't use that word for that. It's already used to teach you. You have to lean the guy over. How many baile the gufei to lean the guy over? Well, im can lift up kar yateu. You should say yateu to be mata. Yata means to lean over. Right? You can't read by a candle on Shabbos. Shema yata. You might come to tilt it. So yateu means to tilt. So the Torah just said tilt it. Ma'i hipilu. What's hipilu? Shmamina tarti. You learn both things. One, you tilt, and two, it has to be doubled over. I'm wondering, is a doubled over whip more effective? I'm just curious. It's interesting. Doubled over. What? No experience. Yeah. Sounds like Jules has experience. So hamaka maka biyado. Okay, so you have to hit him. Hamaka maka with you come down with one hand, full force. Tanu rabbanon ein mamidim chazanim. We don't make the chazanim, the gabbas, the ones that serve in the the ones that are going to be doing this, the servicemen. Ella, who gets the job? Who's liable? What are the qualifications? You're applying to college and you want to be a whipper. So what do you have to check off in your boxes? So Ella chasire koach, you have to be weak, and be seri mada, you have to be smart. Because if you're weaker, so then you won't hit him so hard. And you have got to be smarter because you have to know. I mean, it doesn't take so much smart, but you have to know that you make sure that you don't give him any extra. If you do any extra, then you're liable. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, no, afilu chasire mada, v'yisire koach. Even if he's not so smart and very strong, that's still okay. So, Amar Rabba Kevasa Rabbi Yehuda Mistabra. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's more logical. You can be even not so knowledgeable and very strong. Why? The Torah says, Lo Yosef, Pen Yosef, don't add. You don't have to be a genius to realize, don't add, right? Even if you're not so smart. So, but it says, don't add one more whip. Fine. So now, if you'll say chasiri mada, you say that you have to be someone who's not knowledgeable, that's why the Torah says hainu de tzarich lazure. You have to give the guy 39 lashes, and the Torah warns you, make sure you don't add to that. So if you're not so knowledgeable, it makes sense. The Torah has to warn you. By the way, don't add. It's a very funny Gemara because you could just easily just say the Torah wrote it to teach you the prohibition for hitting somebody when you're not supposed to. I think this is the source. Okay, but it's interesting. If you're so smart that you can count to 39 and you could stop yourself at 39, so like what was the point of this commandment? It's unnecessary. So that was Rabbi Yehuda. How are the Rabbanan going to respond? The Rabbanan are going to say, Ein mezarzin ela lemezurus. We only we don't ein mezarzin, to be mezar is to encourage, to tell someone. Who do you encourage? The guy that's already knowledgeable. You encourage the one who's already quick, so to speak, who already knows his stuff. It's for him you encourage, right? If you for example, the guy who can't get off the couch, so you can encourage him, he's not going to do anything. The guy who's anyways up and about, you tell him, yeah, keep going. So we for the guy who's already cautious in his observance, yes, for him we give him extra warning. Okay. When you raise up your hands, you raise up with two hands. With one hand. Sounds like it shouldn't be so painful, right? Because if you come down with two hands, it's going to be much more painful. So you come down with one hand, so it's less painful. What is that?
Why going up with two and then down with one?
So you're saying just go up with one?
Yeah.
No, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Maybe it's a heavy whip.
Yeah. Maybe you go up with one, it's less power. I don't know. Yeah. Good question. The Kore, you have to read all these verses. So Tanur Banu Haggadosh Shebadayan, you have the three judges over there. So the greatest one, the most knowledgeable, or the oldest one, Shebadayanin, Kore, he reads Hasheni Mona. Second judge counts how many Makkos there are. The Hashlishi Omer Hiko, hit him. So each one has their job. Bizman shemakim aruba marich. When there's a lot of lashes, so we try to extend the psukim. Bizman shemakim wetes. When there's only a few makkos, then we shorten the psukim. So says the Gemara B'Hanatan chozer l'tchilas l'mikra. It sounds like you finish off the verses and go back to the beginning. So what do you mean you elongate it when there's a lot of lashes? It sounds like you want to do it not repeat itself. Says the Gemara, no, mitzvah letzamtzem. There's a mitzvah to finish off exactly when you finish the lashes. Finish off the verses also. The ilo tzimtzem chozer l'chiyas hamikra. Then you go back to the beginning of the verses. So the Mishnah. You finished off the lashes.
Yeah, try to hit it more times just to make it come out even. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the verses. Just a couple more.
Tadur about it. Makirabba, Eniel Makirabba, Makametas Minayan. So we know you can't add many lashes after 39, but one or two, new, what's the big deal? Talmud Lomar, Lo Yosef. No, you can't add. Well, then Im Kain, Matam Lomer, Makirabba. What does it mean? It sounds like many lashes you can't add. So what it means is Limed Ala Rishonos, Shehain Makirabba. It's just teaching you that the first lashes have to be with a, I think, with a certain amount of strength, right? How they jumped at him? Yeah, with all your strength.
Oh, lashes. The original number that was that they are considered a great people, not in terms of number of lashes, but in terms of So
now I'm wondering, that would you come down with one hand and not two hands? That's with your full force. But yeah, you come down with one hand, not two hands.
Well, I guess your full force with one hand, but not, to be more forceful with two.
That's it, your full force, but not your full force, something like that. Okay, so niskalkel. So yeah, niskalkel. So now what happens? This is in the Mishnah. I don't remember this in the Mishnah. Oh yeah, niskalkel. Yeah, niskalkel. So sorry, if you lost control of your bodily functions, so then in certain cases you are exempt. Taner Rabbanan, echad ha'ish ve'echad ha'isha berei. If a man or a woman, so if they had excrement, velo b'mayim, but not urine. A man and a woman, not like our Mishnah. Divrei Reb Meir, that's Reb Meir. Reb Yehuda Omer, ha'ish berei ve'ish b'mayim. That's our Mishnah. A man excrement and a woman urinates. Then they're off the Chachamim, third opinion. Echad ha'ish ve'echad ha'isha bein berei bein b'mayim. Doesn't matter. Any kind of losing control of your bodily functions, off the hook. He just says with excrement, nothing to do with urine. That contradicts Rabbi Yehuda, what we just said, who said that if a woman has urine, then she's off the hook. Rabbi Yehuda just meant to say that that brisa, just both a male and a female, they get off the hook with excrement, but of course he means that a woman also gets off the hook with urine. Okay. Other ways to get off the hook. It's important to know, yeah? So Amar Shmuel, Kavtu, they tied him up, the rats, and he fled. So Mibezdin, Potter, he's exempt. He's exempt. Why? That it sounds like that the already preparing him for lashes is already embarrassing enough. You have to have some level of degradation to receive your atonement. So that already is enough. So now, that's right. Meisvei kala bein berishona bein b'shniya. Potrino so. Yeah, a person had lost control of his bodily functions. So bein berishona bein b'shniya, between the lashes, first lash, second lash. Sorry, no. Before they got the lashes or after they got the lashes? Yeah, so let's say that first lash, the guy's coming up with his hand, you see him, and then the guy gets so scared that he lost control of his bodily functions. So then he's going to be exempt. Right. As opposed to what? He's also exempt. For sure he's exempt. As opposed to before any lashes were done. He shows up to court, and right then and there, he has a bodily function. He lost his bodily functions, but it wasn't out of This is nice. Yeah, I'm on the beach. Yeah, it wasn't. But it wasn't as a result of the guy about to lash him. Just in general. So that you wouldn't be off the hook. It has to be as a result of fear of the actual guy giving you a lash when he picks up his lash.
Oh.
What?
How can you tell the difference? Fear.
Maybe we'll talk about it at Shal Shidduch. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah. So may say Nifsika Ritsua Bishnia. Interesting. The actual whip breaks after he got lashes. Then Pochino, he's also exempt. But Barishona, before he got lashes, then no. Then you don't get then you're not exempt. So says the Gemara, Amai lahave kiratz. What do you mean? If you tied the guy up and he ran away, then he's exempt. So too here, the guy's ready, and your whip, the lash breaks before the first lash. There you're not exempt. What's the difference? In both cases, they didn't get their lashes yet. One guy ran away. One guy, the lash broke, the whip broke. One guy, you're exempt. And one guy, you're not exempt. What's the difference? So it says the Gemara, Amai lahabi kiratz, hasam rats, hachalo rats. So it sounds like the fact that he had to run away from court, that itself is very embarrassing. He had to flee. And that embarrassment is enough to exempt you from lashes. The fact that the court's lash broke before you got your first lash, nothing embarrassing for you. That's maybe embarrassing for them, but not embarrassing for you. And therefore, you still have to get lashes. Tanu Rabbanan, Amdu l'kishiyilka kala pochinoso. So Amdu l'kishiyilka, that once you get in l'kishiyilka yikla pochinoso, l'kishiyotza mi bezdin kala malkinoso. I'm blinking. What is that?
So if the Beth-Din determined,
if they can determine that you are going to lose control of your bodily functions, then you're exempt. Then you're going to be exempt. If they know somehow that so then you're going to be exempt. Yeah, okay, fine. But if what? But if they estimate that when you leave Bezdin, you're going to do that. Because Shiyatzami Bezdin, then they still give you the lashes, right? It's only if they see that you're going to have bodily functions before, but not after. The load Ella, not only that, afilu kala betchila malkin. So even if you lost control of bodily functions before they gave you lashes, they still give you lashes. Why? Shinamar v'hiko v'nikla. They're going to give you lashes. V'nikla, then you get embarrassed, then you get degraded. Below shalaka kfari bezdin. But not if you already got lashes in Bezdin and then you were embarrassed. It has to be while you're getting lashes or before you get the lashes, but not afterwards. That's not going to go. Okay. Kol chayve krisos, all of the things that a person's chayiv karis for shalaku. If you would get makos for those, niftu yidei krisasim. It's a way out of karis. It's a way out of karis. Yeah, so you do not get karis. Shenemar v'nikla achichelei necha. It says v'nikla achichelei necha. Kishalaka. Once you get the lashes, harehu ke'achicha. You become like a brother. Thank you, Steve. Divrei Rabbi. Okay, so that's Divrei Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. The Amr Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel ma'im ha'over avera achas notel nafsho aleha. Just like a person does an avera, and we take his soul from him. Ha'osa mitzvah achas alachas kama v'kama. Can you imagine what one mitzvah does? If one avera, look at the severity of it. Imagine how much one mitzvah is. Kama v'kama. Ha'osa mitzvah achas alachas kama v'kama. How much more so? Shatinatin lo nafsho. How much more soul are we going to give him? Right. Rashi and Chumash, that Hashem's positive trait of reward is 500 times greater than his trait of retribution. Yeah. So Rabbi Shimon Omer, Mimkomo Hulaman, you can learn out you can learn out that Malkus exempts you from kares, from its place, from our parsha. What does it say? It says that one who does the all the incestual acts, all the people that you can't have relations with, you get kares. The omer, and then it says that you have to do the mitzvos. Right next to it says do the mitzvos. You should live through the mitzvos. So it says that, which means whoever does the mitzvahs will get life. So hakol hayoshev below avar avera, whoever sits and doesn't do an avera, meaning he has an opportunity to do an avera and he resists, nosen lo schar ke'os mitzvah. He gets reward as if he did the mitzvah. So you get reward for not doing an avera like the reward for yes doing a mitzvah. Yeah. Yeah. Right. This verse is Yud Ches Hey, and that verse is Yud Ches. Yeah. Before this whole parsha of all the illicit relations, it says you're gonna a person will do the mitzvahs and live through them, and then it says all these negative things you can't do. If you don't do them, then you'll get life. You'll get more life. Rabbi Shimon ben Bar Rebbe Omer Hareu Omer. So this is in this is in Devarim. Rak chazak lebilti achal adam. Be strong. Don't eat the blood. Don't eat the blood. Kedamu nefesh velo tochal nefesh im abasar. Right. Certain things are forbidden, like eating blood. Uma im hadam. Imagine blood is gross. Don't eat the blood of an animal. Gross. Uma im hadam shenafesh adam katzami manu. The natural state of a person, he's repulsed by eating blood of an animal. And yet, haporish mimenu mikabel sar. If you don't eat the blood, you stay strong, you don't eat the blood, you get rewarded. Can you imagine thievery, gezel, verayis, and illicit relations, or any subcategory of that? The natural state of a person is he desires money and women, and he desires them. If you resist from there, you get reward. Lo uladorosov, v'ladoros dorosov ad sof kol hadoros. You resist and you get rewarded for all the generations. Yeah. Rabbi Chaim ben Akasha Omer, this we might have heard of before. Hashem wants to grant us merit. So what did he do? He gave us. People think it's a burden, it's so much to do, it's the opposite. He just wants to give reward. So he gave you 1.5 million opportunities every moment of your day to do what he wants, to just give you reward. Hashem, so to speak, desires Laman Tzidko in order to for his righteousness. So Yagdil Torah v'Yadir, he made the Torah great, meaning so numerous, so many mitzvahs, and so beautiful. So for to give reward. Yeah. Okay. Amar of Yochanan Chalukin alav Chaverav al Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. So the friends of Chanina ben Gamliel, they argued with him. He said in our Mishnah that you can get malchus and then you won't get kares. Malchus can take you out of getting kares. But his friends argued on him. Why? So Amar Bidi Bar Ava, Amar Be Rav Tanina, we learned in Megillah a whole series of Ein Bains. Ein Bain, there's no difference between Shabbos and Yom Kippurim. So Ela Shezeh Zedono Bidei Adam, that the punishment by Shabbos is executed down here in the human court, skila, stoning. V'zeh Zedono Bi Kares. But by Yom Kippur you get kares. The Im Isa, but if this is true that Malchus gets you out of kares, they're both executed in this court. The Im Isa Idi Bidei Adam. Yom Kippur you get in this court, you get Malchus. Shabbos you get stoned. So then the mission that differentiates between heavenly punishment and earthly punishment, according to Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, is it seems to be inaccurate. So Rav Nachman Omer, no. How many Rabbi Yitzchaki, the Omar Malchus b'chayve krisas leka, the Mishnah must be going like Rabbi Yitzchak, who says that there's no Malchus by chayve krisas, but it's meaning it's two different opinions. Rav Chanina has his opinion, and Rabbi Yitzchak has his opinion. but it's not a question on Rabbi Chanina. The Tanya. How do you know that you don't get lashes when you get kares? You can't get both. The Tanya. Rabbi Yitzchak says Chayv increases b'chlal hayu. Rabbi Yitzchak says the whole section of the Torah dealing with illicit relations says you get kares, and all of a sudden it singles out. By the way, for your sister you also get kares. So Lam Yat says b'kares b'achos, so ladun b'kares below b'malchus, to teach you that in general, to teach you for all of the kareses, it's only kares and not malchus. So that's only the opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak. Yeah, I think we had this earlier. Yeah. Rav Ashi says afilu teim rabbanon. No, say even the rabbanon that disagree with Rabbi Yitzchak, they can still learn that Mishnah. How? Yeah, sorry. Afilu teim rabbanon. The Mishnah just means in Megillah, your primary punishment on Shabbos, Iker is a dana b'dei adam. The primary punishment is going to be by Yom Kippur. Is going to be Iker is dana b'dei Shemayim, a heavenly punishment. It's not to say that you cannot get malchus. It's the only punishment. It tells you it's the primary. That's the most severe. That's the severity of Yom Kippur that gets you kares. But yes, you could also get malchus. So therefore, that would be in line with Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. Okay. Amar Rav Adabar Amar Rav Allah Rabbi Chanina. It's like Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, that a person gets malchus, and therefore he'll be exempt from kares. Amar Rav Yosef man solik le'ila. So somebody went up to Elah.
Went up to heaven.
Oh, went up to heaven. Oh, that works. The Asa Amar, and he came and he said this halacha. What the halacha is like him? Well, he went to heaven, and what did he come back saying? It's warm up here. What did he say?
Okay. He's exempt from current.
Oh, so he came back and told us that. Okay. Sorry. Man salik le'ila. Sorry. What's the source of this? Who went up to heaven and brought this down to us? How do you know this is true? I think it's a way of saying what's the source, no? Man, so who's going to go up to heaven and come back and tell us this halacha? Meaning, where are you getting this from? Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, Shlosha dvarim asu bezdin shalmata. There are three things that the court down here did. The hiskimu bezdin shalmala, and the court up there agreed to them. Ayadim. So, and for those three, which we're going to see in a second, we can say the same thing. Man salik le'ila v'asav amar. Who went up to heaven and told us that the heavenly court agreed with us? We're going to see three cases where it's true. How do you know that's true? Ella, Krai Kardarshinan. The psukim show us that the heavenly court agreed with them. It's going to be explicit, or it's going to be expanded upon in the psukim, allusions to the fact that the heavenly court agreed to the court down here. So Hakanami. So you have to say also over here, Krai Kardarshinan. They have verses that allude to the fact that the heavenly court agreed to this halacha. What are those psukim? Would be nice to know. Doesn't say. Maybe we'll say in a second. Okay. So Gufa Amar Mishub and Levi Shlosh Davar also Bezin Shalmata. Skimush Bezin Shalmal. Yadim. Three things that the court down here did, and the court up there agreed to them. Eluhain. What are these three things? Mikra Megillah, the enactment of reading the Megillah. Megillah's Esther. V'she'elas Shalom b'shem. Greeting someone with the name of God. Either you can greet someone with the name of God and it's not a violation of saying God's name in vain, or another answer is Rashi says that you should ask someone how to do it. You should greet someone with God's name, which is he points out, right? Shalom Aleichem. Shalom is one of the names of God. Yeah, name always means one of his traits, how he interacts with this world. So shalom, with peace. So that's why you can't say shalom in the bathroom. Yeah, if you see your friend in the bathroom, so don't say shalom to him. Yeah, say hello, or just don't talk at all. Yeah. So okay. So now, how do you know this is true? If these three things were agreed upon by the heavenly court. So sorry. Sorry. What are they? Megillah, Sheila Shalom B'Shem with God's name. They Havas Meiser, the bringing of Meiser, not the actual bringing of Meiser, but Ezra made institution that all the Levium and the Kohanim get Meiser too. He punished the Levium for not coming up to Israel with him when he came up to Israel. They didn't make Aliyah, and therefore they got punished. And those three were agreed upon by the heavenly court. How do I know? Mikra Megillah D'Ksib, Kimu v'Kiblu. So it says they acquiesced and they accepted. HaYehudim. What does that mean? Kimu lemala, masha kiblu lemata. They accepted up there that which they accepted down here. So they accepted down here to celebrate Purim and the Megillah. Up there, they accepted that. So that's one. Sheila Shalom, Hainu Sheila Shalom. Boaz, by Rus. Oh, Nine Boaz, Ba Beis Lachem, V'yomer Lekotzim, Hashem Yimachem. All of a sudden, Boaz uses Hashem's name to greet them. So, I guess, how do you see from there that it must be that he was allowed to? Or else how did he do it? The Omer, it also says, Hashem Imcha Gibor Achayim. An angel greeted, I think, Gidon, and he says, Hashem Imcha Gibor Achayim. Hashem is with you, the strong soldier. So, Mai Vit Omer, what's Vit Omer? I need two proofs. V'chitema Boaz with Avin Midaitei. Maybe you'll say Boaz did on his own, Umishmaya Lo Askim Al Yado, and heaven did not agree to him. Simply understood, if Boaz did it, of course heaven agreed with him, because Boaz had a Jewish people. He's not going to do something that heaven didn't agree with. But if you're going to put that into question, Tashma Omer Hashem Imcha Gibor Achayil, the angel that came to greet Gidon used God's name. So therefore, you know that one's allowed to do that. And we'll stop here. Okay.